Bella Poarch, the TikToker who basically got famous from one single TikTok video. Yeah, I think we all know her. But did you guys know her background? And the fact that she basically had to escape her really traumatic childhood in the Philippines? You might be surprised to hear that she had a pretty rough time as a kid. For a long time, nobody had any idea where she came from or who her family was. However, when she finally spoke up about it, everyone could understand why she kept her life so private. It all started when Bella was living in the slums in the Philippines with her grandmother. They were really poor, and she never knew who her biological parents were. Then, when she was 3, she was adopted by a couple who worked on a farm. Her adoptive dad was a white American who served in the military for 20 years and was retired, and her mom was Filipino. Bella actually spoke up about all of this in an interview with H3 recently, where she refers to her adoptive parents as her stepmom and stepdad, so I will be referring to them in the same way in this video.
My life was normal. Like I was still like given like a good treatment. Like we would go to the mall and spend time like a family. But
between the ages of 3 and 6, she had a pretty nice, normal life with her new family. She had 2 older sisters and an older brother. But things started to change when they got lots of animals on the farm. When she was 7, that's when Bella started to be treated really badly by her step-parents. Bella's brother also faced similar treatment, and they're still really close, but their older sisters were treated pretty normally. A lot of the time, she would have to wake up at 3 in the morning to do chores before school. Not the normal chores that kids do, like washing dishes or clearing the dinner table. I'm talking about full-on working on the farm. She had to do things like cleaning up poop, cleaning the cat house, and sweeping the yard. Her school started at 6:30 in the morning too, which is why she had to get up so early so she could be ready in time. This is what Bella also had to say in the podcast.
So I'd be sweeping the yard, like picking up dog shit and
Tons of dog shit.
yeah, I'd be cleaning up the cat house because we had a cat house, and I'd be sweeping goat poop in the goat pen.
But apparently her stepdad, who, as I said, was a retired serviceman who was living off of his pension, wouldn't do any of the work, even though he was the one who owned the farm, and Bella and her brother were not only busy with school, but were literally children. Instead of doing work on his farm, Bella's stepdad would stay in his room all the time.
He sits in his room like 6 days a week, but yeah, like he would only come out of his room for like an hour in the weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
she goes on to say that he would only ever come out of his room to check that Bella and her brother were doing their chores right. And what is really messed up is that if he wasn't happy with Bella's work, he would get really mad and say that she wasn't allowed to eat breakfast and would even slap her. Another crazy chore that her stepdad made Bella and her brother do was cut the grass by hand with a sickle.
Would be responsible for like cutting the grass by hand.
by hand?
Yeah, by hand.
Oh, that's just
Sometimes the grass would be like taller than me, because back then I was like 7.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was always scared of snakes, but me and my brother would just cut the grass. Like
just with like
a
shears?
sickle.
Oh, a sickle.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the grass is taller than you, you're not old enough to be cutting it. It wasn't even just the chores. Her stepdad had a lot of rules that just her and her brother had to abide by, when their older sisters were allowed to do whatever they wanted. For example, her stepdad never let anyone in the house speak their native language, because he wanted to know what was going on all the time. And Bella and her brother weren't even allowed to sit on the couch. They had to sit on the floor if they wanted to watch television. Then, after she had done her chores too, her stepdad wouldn't let her shower before school, so she had to go into school smelling like she'd been cleaning poop out of a barn for hours because she wasn't allowed to wash. And you guys, it's probably not much of a surprise, but because of this treatment she was getting at home, she would get bullied at school for reasons like having holes in her shoes. Not only was she bullied at school, but she was also bullied at home by her older sisters, who got given new stuff and were treated way better than her. But where is her stepmom in this situation? Well, even though her and her brother were being treated so badly by their stepmom never said anything about it. She never spoke out against their stepdad, and she always just stayed silent. Apparently, it's part of Filipino culture to mind your own business and not get involved with other people's family matters. So nobody else ever tried to intervene, not the neighbors, nor other family members, not even teachers at her school would help out when Bella came in with cuts and bruises all over herself. Fast forward to when she was 14, her stepdad got sick and had to go home to the US to get bypass surgery since he couldn't get it in the Philippines. weekends. She was so happy when he was gone because it meant she got to do normal things like sit on the couch and speak in her native language. And most of the abuse stopped for her. But unfortunately, it wasn't long until she would have to see him again. Soon enough, he made her and her brother join him in the US to live with him, their stepmom, their aunt, and things kind of got better over there.
He couldn't touch me or my brother because my aunt was there. And
It wasn't the same
Yeah.
situation.
yeah,
People in America, the culture is different. They care about,
Yeah.
or they don't mind getting involved if they see a child being abused.
yeah,
So yeah, her stepdad wasn't able to physically hurt Bella and her brother, and because they weren't on the farm anymore, they didn't have to do any insane chores, but he would still yell at them sometimes. Thankfully, she doesn't really speak to her stepparents anymore, but she did keep in contact with her grandmother, who sadly passed away last year. Her parents have apparently tried to reach out to her though.
they've been like reaching out to me and like, oh, we should
Yeah.
hang soon or meet. And it's funny because they think that when I go and meet them, they think I'll change my mind and be like, oh yeah, like
All good.
yeah,
Nice
all
to see you.
good. Yeah, it's very hard for them to accept what happened in the past. Like they can't accept it.
Her stepdad even tried to use the fact that he was diagnosed with PTSD as an excuse for treating her that way.
He recently said that he was diagnosed with PTSD because he was in the army
Okay.
for like 20 years. And that was his excuse. But I felt like, I don't know. I felt like, I mean, I have PTSD and I don't go around and hurt people, you know?
Yeah, loves, she is totally right. Having PTSD is not an excuse to treat anyone, let alone your own children, like that. Bella also suffers with PTSD herself, which is probably because of the trauma she endured as a child. And she's the sweetest person ever. So why her stepdad thinks he can use it to get away with his behavior is beyond me. She doesn't seem to want to give her stepparents another chance. I think that bridge is pretty much burned now. This interview with H3 was the first time that she has told the full story of her traumatic childhood. But for a while, Bella was dropping small hints about the fact that she had struggled a lot as a kid. Back in November of last year, Bella made a TikTok responding to a commenter who asked her about her tattoos. In the video, she shows off her ink, but in the caption, Bella gives a heartbreaking explanation. I had a rough childhood. My scars from abuse made me insecure, and so I had to cover up my scars with tattoos. Bella also opened up in the comments about what she did when she managed to get out of this situation. I left my abusive parents at 17 and I joined the military. I got all my ink when I was in the Navy. About a month later, she posted a heartfelt statement on Twitter where she spoke about her battles with depression, anxiety, and PTSD. She told her followers that before she found success on TikTok, she even planned on giving up completely. I wanted to take some time today to say thank you to TikTok. Before any of this ever happened to me, I was in a really dark place. I would wake up going to war with my depression, PTSD, and anxiety. My two biggest weapons to fight it were singing songs on my ukulele or playing video games. And to be completely honest, it was getting really tiresome fighting over and over with those two things. Plus, having to worry about rent and bills every single day, I felt hopeless and planned to give up. Then overnight, my life changed because of an app someone told me to download. I'm still fighting the same war, but the arsenal of things that help me fight are different now. I get to work with my favorite fashion brands, video games, companies. I get to go to the studio and work with songwriters and producers who have made the music for my all-time favorite artists. For the first time in my life, I wake up looking forward to going to war, and I want to say thank you to TikTok for changing my life, but more importantly, saving it. I know some people don't think I deserve to be here. I don't either, but I want to say thank you to my fans supporting me. You are all fighting the war with me. I want other people who are in a similar place as me to know that things can change. Life can happen and it can be beautiful. Don't give up the fight and keep going. A bit more recently though, Bella did an interview with Vogue where she talked a little more about her time in the Navy, and she says that the reason she joined was to be free and independent, which makes more sense now that we know what she went through as a child. She was stationed in Japan for a few years, and that's when she fell in love with their culture. But on a deeper level, Bella says that the Navy helped her to realize that she can't do everything on her own, and she's now using that knowledge to help her music career. By the sounds of it, Bella is really enjoying her life these days, and while she's still fighting her battles, she seems to feel hopeful for the future. It's amazing that Bella has been through all of this trauma and has still managed to gain so much success. She built a huge online presence and is kickstarting her music career. I mean, I can't lie. Her song Build a actually slaps. Bella is doing so well at the moment, and she is just going to keep going. I think she'll really go far in her music career. I can't wait to see what she does next, and to see her just totally dominate the online world. So there we have it, the traumatic childhood of Bella Poarch. What do y'all think about this situation, loves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you so much.